Do you think politicians are corrupt and so corruption survives? I was reading this research paper called as The History of Corruption in India by Shalini Bharti and Rachna Mittal, published in the International Journal for Political Science and Governance. And they say that corruption has always been there. In fact, corruption has evolved with time. This paper has explained what all kinds of corruptions were there from Rig-Vedic age to the contemporary times. Nothing has changed. Just the forms, just the subtleties, just the expressions of corruption have changed. The Rig-Veda talks about greed, misuse of wealth, dishonest behavior, and leaders who betray public trust. One interpretation in the research paper says, when people starve while power and wealth stay concentrated, society is already corrupted. Think about that. Thousands of years ago, they already understood corruption destroys society from within. And then came Kautilya's Arthashastra. He listed dozens of ways government officials steal public money. Fake accounts, delayed payments, commission cuts, manipulated records. This all sounds familiar, right? He compared corruption to the fish drinking water. You will never know when it's happening. And ancient India treated corruption seriously. The punishments were brutal: public humiliation, confiscation of wealth, exile, and sometimes even death. The paper goes on to talk about how corruption survived in the Sultanate period, in the Mughal period, in the Jagirdari crisis. Then came the East India Company. The paper argues that British did not invent corruption. They industrialized it. Bribes, manipulated trade deals. They bought officials. They extracted revenue. A bureaucracy designed not to serve people but to control them. And parts of that system still survive today. And mind you, corruption is not always about money. Sometimes corruption is when institutions fail deliberately. During the 1984 anti-Sikh killings, thousands died while many accused the system of political protection, delayed justice and institutional silence. When power protects violence instead of punishing it, that is corruption too. Today, corruption has evolved again. Neat paper leaks stealing merit, cash for job scams, collapsed bridges after crores vanish into contracts, politicians changing parties after corruption investigations, corporate lobbying, influencers glorifying illegal wealth. But corruption survives for one reason: because society secretly respects successful corruption. The corrupt are not isolated, they are invited to weddings, celebrated on TV, elected into power. The question in my mind was still unanswered. That is, what makes one corrupt? What is the psychology behind corruption? Upon further researching, I came across another paper called as The Cognitive Psychology of Corruption by authors Kendra Dupuy and Siri Nesset. This paper highlights major points like individuals holding power are more likely to act corruptly. Individuals are more likely to act corruptly when they stand to gain personally, have lower self-control, perceive that corruption will only cause them indirect harm, and when they work in organizations where unethical behavior is not punished. It also points out that emotions such as guilt may make it less likely for individuals to act corruptly. Do share your experience with corrupt people.